Linda is a longtime member of the Genealogy Society here in Muskogee. She recently moved out of the city to another city, but she's maintained her membership. She's a longtime member of the DAR and a longtime genealogist, and certainly we're glad to have her tonight. I heard her presentation when she made it in Bartlesville. I understand she's probably added some to it and probably edited it a bit, and so we're looking forward to that. So if you ever hear from Bartlesville, you'll get a double dose plus tonight. She has traced her Irish research. She claims to be a beginner in this, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's how we all start. And it is refreshing in some ways to have someone who says, I'm a beginner with this, but I want to share what I've done. And it's really a good thing for all of us to see how people begin their research, how they begin to work to, as she calls it, get across the pond. We've heard that phrase a lot. And so we do welcome her and all of the things that she's going to share with us. Linda, it is yours. If you want to share your screen now, we'll see your PowerPoint.
As I said, beginner. So I'm going to share or attempt to share what I have learned so far. I just started this last spring and trying to do Irish research, so it's still a work in progress. My maiden name is Ryan because, and three of my dad's four grandparents were from Irish immigrant families, so I've always been interested, what was Irish and how that affected my family. Did it change? Please tell me it changed.
It changed. Yes.
Okay. This is from John Grenham's Irish Ancestors website, and it's the surname distribution for the Ryan surname on the island. You can tell that Ryan pretty much covers the whole south part of the island. So if I had seen this before I started this, I probably would have just hung it up before I ever, you look at that and you think, I will never find my Ryan in all of those, but I did, so I was lucky. Okay, and when you're starting out, same as with any research that you do, you look through all your memorabilia, all your papers, your dad's papers, your mom's papers, everybody's papers. You talk to the relatives, you visit your cemeteries and all, and all the obvious things. I make a note here for the wills. I did happen to come across a will not long ago for a relative in Kansas. He died, I believe, in 1904, but he left bequests to people in Ireland, and I thought, well, there's a clue. So don't overlook wills when you're trying to find out where they came from, because there might be something there. And then you've got, of course, immigration records and church records. And then your fan club, the Ryans settled just north of St. Louis in St. Charles County, Missouri, and a bunch of other Irish were there as well. And it turned out they pretty much all came from the same place. So, that's another thing to keep in mind. This is Dad's grandma, Mary Ann Morin, and they came over in the 1860s. Of course, I can't find any immigration information other than the census records, but I do know that it was the entire family, and her mom and dad were Michael Morin and Margaret Dunn. So I wanted to make a comment too about this picture. The original was that kind of sepia brownish look. So I ran it through the MyHeritage colorization, and it came out like that. And it's a beautiful, beautiful picture. Okay, looking through Dad's papers, this is her death record from her church in Kansas City. It states her place and date of birth, as well as the date and place of death. And it gives the county in Ireland where she was born, which was Queens County. also known as County Leash. This is her brother John's son's birth certificate in Chicago. And it had to give the information for the child's father, which was Mary Ann Warren's brother, as being in Queens County again. But now we also have a town, which is Mount Mellick. So we have good information now to, good clues. And then this is Michael, Mary Ann's father's death certificate. And it lists his birth, which was Queens County again, and his parents' names. So we have good information for the Morin family to begin with. Okay, this is my other example. This is Dad's grandfather, Philip Ryan, and his wife, Anna Scanlon. They came in the mid-1860s also. And they settled originally just north of St. Louis, and then they moved on into the middle part of Missouri. This is his brother's tombstone in Slater, Missouri, and it lists on there where he's from. So now we know that the family, that particular Ryan family, came from Gale in County Tipperary in Ireland. So this was a big deal. That really narrowed it down a lot. And Philip's death certificate provides dates of birth and death, and also now we got his father's name. We've got Timothy Ryan as his father. This is Philip's sister. She stayed just north of St. Louis and married an Edward Bryan. And now on her death certificate, not only do we have the father's name is Timothy, which matches Philip, but now we have mother as well, in Bridget Sweeney. So this is a summary of what we've got before we start going into the Irish records. For Michael and Philip both, we have a place and a county. We have approximate dates of birth, and we have their parents' names. So, excuse me, we're good to go, really. Before I did go into the Irish records, I did kind of do some research on Gale and Mount Mellick and got some background. So I kind of had an idea where they were and within the island, and a little bit more about them. And we'll be looking at resources and examples of those things. If you don't have any idea whatsoever, John Grenham's website for that surname distribution, like I showed you at the beginning for the Ryans, might give you an idea as well. Starting off, location, 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 and more location. This is the breakdown of the way the Irish land records are, well, really all the records are described. There are both civil and religious divisions. And there's the province, which is the four major provinces listed there, Connaught, Leicester, Munster, and Ulster, which is Northern Ireland. The counties within the provinces. There's a civil parish, which is within the county, and the church parish, which is within the county, but may go over boundaries. The townland, that's the really important thing. That's like the little villages and the places where people actually lived. There's a barony, which is a somewhat obsolete term now, and then a poor law union, which had to do with the workhouses and things later on in their history. There's about 60,000, let's go back. There's about 60,000 townlands in Ireland. So it's really important you try to get a bead on what, where it is that you're looking for. Some of them may have the same names, just like there's Elm Grove, Oklahoma, and Elm Grove, Missouri, and, it's the same type of thing, but there's 60,000 of them. So you'll need to find that little tidbit of information before you can really search the parish registers, Griffith's valuation, which is the big tax resource. So it's just really important to have that. There are both civil and religious parishes, and they may cross county boundaries, and you really, really need a good atlas. Excuse me. The one that I found that I've been using is called the New Genealogical Atlas of Ireland by Brian Mitchell. And it gives the provinces and the counties and also civil parishes and church parishes on different pages. So you can compare and try to get an idea of what it is that you're dealing with. Okay, dates. Civil registration beginning about 1864. Parish registers vary, that they can go back as early as the early 1800s that I've found so far. The tithe allotment books, 1814 to 1855. Griffith's valuation, which is the big tax valuation, which is 1847 to 1864. And another date to remember is the Irish Civil War and the Four Courts Fire in 1922, because it destroyed almost all of the 19th century historical records. So that was a very bad day. The Republic of Ireland records you can find for civil registration on irishgenealogy.ie. And excuse me, for Northern Ireland, search the Jenny.Northern Ireland Direct. These are on the website, by the way, on the handout. To explain the tithe allotments, it was a tax that was levied by the Church of Ireland, which was the state church at the time. And it didn't make any difference if you were Church of Ireland or something else, but you still had to pay because that money helped pay for the clergy and salaries and social projects and upkeep and so on. So everybody had to chip in. And then we'll look at a little bit of Griffith's valuation here in a second. Okay, back to the Four Courts Fire. The archive itself was established in 1867 for the purpose of housing records that were stored in poor conditions throughout the country. And that included the Church of Ireland parish registers too. Anyway, they built this wonderful building, made it as fireproof as absolutely possible. They had a reading room and then a little fire break area and then the storage room. In 1922, in the Civil War, when one of the factions was using that building for storage and for munitions, and also a bomb factory, and unfortunately set a bomb off and blew up the building and all the stuff in it. So it's estimated that 99% marriage bonds, 95% of the pre-1858 wills, 85% of the census records, and 66% of the Church of Ireland records were lost. This slide shows a picture of the interior of the building. They did their best, it was all stone and steel, and didn't help. And then the other picture is people picking up documents that flew through the air and ended up in the street. So anyway, there's an effort underway now to try to recreate a lot of those records that were lost. So we'll talk about that in a second, too. So generally speaking, the earliest census records available are 1901 and 1911, and they are at the National Archives in Ireland. The civil registrations began about 1864, and there are indexes on Family Search, Find My Past, and Ancestry. A non-Catholic marriages date, excuse me, to about 1845. Northern Ireland and the Republic began separate civil registrations after 1922, but there may be records in both places. So don't forget to look in both. Northern Ireland is the Public Records Office in Northern Ireland, and the General Records Office serves the Republic. Both of those web addresses are on the handout. The Catholic parish registers seem to be generally available back to the early 1800s. Church of Ireland records burned in 1922 for the most part, because they were considered a civil record at the time. And then the National Library of Ireland has links to records for other denominations, and there's a link to them in the handout too. If your family was Catholic, you might have a little bit better chance of finding a record. But I haven't looked in the others, so I'm not real sure what's available there. This is the naming patterns. Be sure to search under variants and abbreviated names. That John Grenham's website also gives variant spellings of surnames, which would be helpful here. If you're looking for a Michael, you might find Michael. You might find Mike. You might find M-I-K-L. If you're looking for a Bridget, you might look for Biddy. If you're looking for something that starts with an O apostrophe or MC apostrophe, the apostrophe is probably left out. So just a heads up when you're looking for those names and things, because spelling was fluid. Okay, this is Townlands IE. It's a really good atlas type website. For each county, you'll find the area, the baronies, the civil parishes, electoral divisions, townlands. There'll be a list of them. There's 3,144 in County Tipperary. You click on the county and then the townland, and you'll get a map, additional information specific to that area. So it's a great resource to visit. Another website, which is on your handout, is called Loganim, I believe is how you say it, Logainem. So there's another spot. Okay, this is an example of the map that you would get. This is Gale, and then there's just a picture from the internet for the old Montclair Church. And then this is the same for Mount Mellick. There's a picture of the town, but also a map. Those came off of Townland. The maps came off of Townlands IE. This is the Topographical Dictionary of Ireland. It's a very old book, but it's widely available online, and it has great information from the time frame 1837 to 1840 for locations all over Ireland. So that's definitely worth a look if you can find where your people were in that time frame. Okay, Griffith's valuation. This is the search page from askaboutireland.ie. It was a tax and not intended to be a census record, although it's kind of ended up being a census record, since all the other census records were destroyed. These locations are identified by civil parish, not church parish. The valuation was conducted from about 1847 to 1864, because it was continually updated and changed. And there are books available, I believe, in the National Archives that give additional details, if people have moved or died or things like that, just more specifics to the locations, which are kind of fun to look at. This is an actual page from Griffiths that shows from the townland of Gale and to Brodora. And it shows Timothy Ryan, who's leasing a house and land. So I'm going to look up his landlord if I can find him. That's Thomas R. Morgan, to see what I can find out about him. Terminology wise, a garden is what we call a yard now, and an office is what we call an outbuilding. The valuation books identify what the outbuildings were, such as a barn or a piggery or a stable. And, it lists, sometimes it'll list whole families, but, you wonder if the Connor Ryan that lives next door is related. So, there's lots of information on these, and there's many books written about how these were done and what all of these numbers mean. Additional tax records includes the tithe allotments, which was the tax we were talking about earlier. Those were assessed in 1814 to 1855, so that would take you back a little further. And those can be accessed several places, including the National Archives and Find My Past. Okay, this is looking for the marriage for Michael Morin and Margaret Dunn. And, I looked on Ancestry and Find My Past and Family Search. And they all had records, but I wanted to show an example of this one because they have different information. Family Search shows the place and the father's names, and Find My Past shows the place and the parish. And the parish is really important as well. They may both, the Find My Past might possibly even have an image link to it. The parish was more complicated in this one because Mount Mellick, the Catholic parish of Mount Mellick, was located in Queens County, but it was administered by the diocese in Kildare and Leyland, which was in County Kildare next door. And I found that out on Wikipedia. So, you just have to search everywhere, I guess. This illustrates how important it is to have a good atlas as well. Any record found might have a civil or religious parish name or variants of them. Okay, this is the main page for irishgenealogy.ie, the General Records Office, where you can search for church and civil records. And this is the civil record, civil registration search page. And all you have to do really is have a name. And since I knew that Michael Morin married in 1865 after the civil registrations began, there ought to be a civil record, or it should be. And lo and behold, here we have a civil marriage certificate for the marriage of Michael Morin and Margaret Dunn. These are Mary Ann's parents. It shows their places of residence, and it also allowed me to find her father, Richard Dunn, in the Griffiths valuation in Strayhard Townland of Queens County, which was just north of Mount Mellick. But it shows their names, it shows their age. They were at majority, it says full. He was a bachelor, she was a spinster. He was a publican, which I'm assuming means he worked in a pub or a bar. And the residences, Mount Mellick for him and Strayhard for her, and their fathers and their fathers' occupations. So William Warren was Michael's dad, and Richard Dunn was her dad. So we have a marriage. This is the National Library of Ireland's Catholic Parish search. They're browsable by parish, event, and date. Since I knew the Ryans were around the Moycarkey, I searched for that, and it gave me a list of films available to search, and they're listed by date. It's just a list of them. These are browsable. They are not indexed, so you have to just slog through them. Find My Past also has a good selection of Irish records, and I found Philip's baptism in them along with an image of the parish register. So, you can try that. If it doesn't work, then you'll have to go here and start searching individually. Philip's baptism confirmed his parents as Timothy Ryan and Bridget Sweeney. Gale falls in the Roman Catholic parish of Moycarkey and Boris, Diocese of Cashel and Emily, and is located about 5 miles east of Gale. That came from Townlands and probably Wikipedia as well, where you can get more of an idea of what you're looking at. This is Timothy, which is Philip's father's baptism from 1806 in the parish register of McCarthy and Boris, Diocese of Cashel and Emily. You can see how poorly the writing is and the condition of the pages. So this particular record was found on Roots Island with access to a scan of the original parish register. I doubt I'll find anything earlier since this one was 1806. And I haven't been able to find a baptismal record yet for his wife, Bridget. This is their marriage from the register of the parish of Boherlahan and Douala. I'm sure I'm murdering these names, and my apologies. But the same diocese of Cashel and Emily is dated 21 February 1830. So I've got him in a place and a time and a location. And also, this is just a little funny thing. Timothy appears in what they call the outrage reports in Gale, County Tipperary in 1838 when someone stole 5 of his sheep. But I thought it was funny that they called it an outrage. You know, instead of a police report, it was an outrage. So this is the baptism for my great-grandfather, Philip. Also the same parish in Moycarkey and Boris. Okay, this is kind of fun here. Since the Irish, for the most part, did not own their land, they had to rent. And once you've determined where your people might have lived by using Griffiths or other sources, try to look at this landedestates.ie and see if you can find them in the estate records. It covers only the provinces of Connaught and Munster. Queens County doesn't fall in that, so I could not check that one, but Tipperary does. So I entered the name of Richard Phillips, which was the landlord on Griffith's valuation, and I put that name in the Browse Families section of this website. And I clicked on the Gale house information, and I received back a summary of the family, the house, and the lands owned by the Phillips family. Clicking on the houses tab yielded a photograph of the Gale house and Gale House, which was Phillips' residence. So here's the house. If you look at these articles have a bibliography. So always look at that, because this particular article had a reference to a journal published by the Boherlahan Douala Historical Society. And Google being your friend, I tried to find them. They're not on Google, but they do have a Facebook page, and they are a going concern. So I contacted them through Facebook, and they ended up sending me 3 really nice articles on the area, on the Phillips family, on the Gale area. It included maps and family names, and it was wonderful. 3 full articles. So always check the bibliography. This is the homepage for the National Archives genealogy page. So you can tell what all is available there that you can look at, the early censuses, the title allotment books, will registers, Catholic convert rolls, the valuation, office, house, and field books. That has to do with Griffith's valuation. It gives you more information on those. So definitely a good place to look. This is what I would say would be the premier site for Irish research. It's John Brennan. He's very well known. You can type in here a name and you can get like that surname distribution map I showed you at the beginning. It gives you name variations. It gives you where you can intersect two family names together. That's just a start. You can browse the surname by place name, by county. That is not free, but if you're going to be doing any extensive research, it definitely should be at the top of the list. This is Roots Ireland's website. It's a subscription site also, but you can see what might be available. You can search by county here, which is real handy. So I think I'm over top. In conclusion, I'd have to say I was a bit concerned about trying to go across the pond, even though it was an English-speaking country, thankfully. The Roman Catholic parish registers are a wonderful resource if your family happens to be of that faith. They aren't always legible. Some of them are too faint to read, but the majority of them you can make something out of. About the early 1800s may be as far as you can go unless you come across something really special. The National Archives and National Library will have resources for other religious denominations, denominations, such as the Church of Ireland, Presbyterians, Methodists, and Quakers. There are county history centers, and I understand that they love to help people. So locate those, and maybe you'll come across something like I did from O'Hurlahan, some of those articles about your local history. And of course, there's newspapers too. Referring back to the Four Courts fire, there is a collaborative effort going on between the National Archives of Ireland and other places trying to recreate what was lost as much as possible. It's a work in progress and it has a really slick website, but it seemed to me to be difficult to use. But anyway, you might look at that. It's beyond22.ie, and it's that's on your handout too. So to recap, it's so important to find out everything you possibly can before you get into Irish research, because you can tell what you really need to know before you get there. Be flexible and open-minded regarding the spelling of places and names. Location, 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 location. The townland is the holy grail of what you need. You will rarely find an immigration record for those leaving. Because they just didn't keep records. I think they actually started maybe in 1899 or so. So if you're looking for a passenger list, you'll have to look at where they disembarked. The earliest complete census record at this time is 1901, although I did find a 1766 religious census portion for County Tipperary at that Beyond22 website. Griffith's valuation can be used as a census substitute. Civil registration of births, deaths, and marriages began about 1864. Parish registers can go back a little earlier than that, and then the tithe allotment books in 1814 to 1855 or so. So all of these are listed on the handout, and I hope that there's something there that will be helpful to you. I'm going to end with a little teeny bit of trivia. This is from Wikipedia, because I didn't discuss the famine here. The population loss due to the famine, 1845 to 1849, roughly 1 million people died and as many left the country. causing an approximate decrease of 25% of the country's population. Between 1845 and 1855, no fewer than 2 million people left Ireland. So that kind of explains why there's so many of us out here looking, to try to find our roots there. So that's the end of my talk. I hope that, like I said, I hope there's something there that helped you. And I'm still learning and trying to find things, and I have lots of questions still. So I give it back to Linda. And
Linda, thank you. Were you going to demonstrate a website, or?
I can if somebody is interested.
Okay. How many of you would be interested in a demonstration of her searching a website? Would this website be on your handout, Linda?
Yes.
Okay. If you are, would you, let's see. Well, I think we've got some reactions down there. You can raise your hand or whatever to let us know if you'd like to see a demonstration. Okay, there's a thumbs up from Robert. And some more coming up, Linda. So I think you probably should go ahead. And yes, please do. I see several thumbs up, Linda, so go ahead.
Okay, can you see Irish ancestors?
Mm-hmm. I can.
Hallelujah, it worked.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, this is John Brennan. And I'm going to put in my surname, Ryan. This is the homepage. It's not fancy. Okay, this is what it comes up to when you put the search name Ryan in there. Ryan household in mid-19th century. That was about the time of Griffith's valuation. This is the map I had at the beginning. So you can see here what all, here's maps, gives you an idea of where they were in 1659, Catholic marriages, heads of households, 1911. Here is different name variants, or how you Mulryan, O'Ryan, Mulreen, Mulroyan. Household numbers by county. Tipperary, 4,090. It's kind of scary. Here's family histories, a full surname history. Click here for all variant sources of the name, and here's some more ways to spell. Websites. These are different websites you can go to for the Ryan surname. This is what I wanted you to see right here is parishes where Ryan and a second surname are found together. So my guy married a Sweeney. So I put Sweeney in there and find the parishes. I hope it's trying. Here we go. Ryan and Sweeney in the same parish. Oh my gosh, look at all that red. So click on the parish names below to follow up on Sweeney. Click the parish names below to follow up on Ryan. And it gives you listing by county and then by parish. So if I come down here to Tipperary, all these places where the two names intersected. And see, here's Gail. There were 11 families in that, or 11, I guess, families in Gail that had a combination of the Ryan and Sweeney names. So this site doesn't have records, but it has all of this other information that sends you, where you want to go. Overview of the records. And it tells you about church records, how to find them. You can do place names. You can search, for example, Gale. And then pick a county. So I'm going to pick Tipperary here. I have a place, I have a county, I have a civil parish, I have a poor law union, and a registrar's district. And it took me there. I'll be darned. This is that other website that I told you about, this Logan. It's pronounced Loganum. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, that's kind of an overview of everything that you can. I know there's a place where you can just search. Apparently, you have to be more specific than just a county. But there's maps. There's a civil parish map. Then you get to click on. Well, that's the whole island. So you would click on your county, and then it lists the parish names. Look at all these. And Tipperary, unfortunately, is broken into north and south. But it gives you. Let me see if I can find you. No. I clicked on what was number 4. And here it talks about Ballingarry, parish maps, ordnance survey maps. I mean, it's just so chock full of information that it's mind-boggling, really. Here it is in that Lewis's topographical dictionary that I showed you. Here you can look, there's 4 places you can look for headstones. There's 14 census type records for this particular place. There's 5 church records. You click on that, what do you get? Oh, it gives you the denomination, the church, the dates, what they cover, and where you can find them. So, I mean, it's great. I'm nerding out on you guys, I'm sorry, but it's great. So that's John Grenham's. This is Roots Ireland's website where you can search, for example, by county. You can pick, I'll pick Tipperary North just for the heck of it. And it gives you the genealogy center. I believe it, I bet there's an address in here or some way to contact them. So that is, here we go. Here's the contact information down here. So that's a big thing. And then if you want to search for baptismal or birth records, I don't know if they'll be in here, but I can't spell. Oh. I'll be darned, it knocked me out. But anyway, that's how you look. You can search by individual. And you can search, you can tell how many records they have. There's over 2.9 million census records. 2 million burial and death records, 5 million marriage records, and 10 million baptismal records. So here's a good place to look. And then here is where I found the Moran's marriage was here under this civil record search box here, irishgenealogy.ie, and that's what it looks like actually on here. What's funny is on this one, you have to tell them you're not a robot. So if I would type in Michael Moran, and I'm looking for a marriage, and I'm, what did I say it was, 1865? And here it says, please tell me you're not a robot. Okay, and then it lets you put the name in again. And you have to tell them that you're making an application to search the indexes. Well, I know it's in there. I don't know why it didn't come up. Anyway, it will come up with a whole list of Michael Moran and what did I say it was? No, not Sweeney. He didn't marry a Sweeney. He married a Dunn. Maybe that's my problem.
I think you might have Michael spelled wrong.
I think you're probably right.
I think you had an I in there.
Yeah. I got carried away. Let's go back and search again. I'm pretty sure it was 1865. Here we go. Here it is right here. Michael Moran, Margaret Dunn, date of event, a registration number, the district, and an image. And there it is. So there you go. That's my demo.
Okay, thank you, Linda.